But the military spouse says the White House statement seems to blame military families and their social media accounts when many of the photos that were posted by ISIS were from the Defense Department PR machine. Neil.
All right, Catherine, thank you very much. Retired General Bob Scales on what he makes of all of this. General, what do you think?
Boy, I tell you, what a mess, Neil. You know, it's important to understand that even though these names came from open sources, this wasn't just some ISIS wacko sending out an email. All of these names were carefully vetted. The 100 names were carefully selected. Their names, their photos were put on an ISIS website and directed towards the United States. And as Catherine said, each of these 100 had something to do with the air campaign, either Navy or Air Force. And so ISIS is basically on its game to tell our servicemen and women that even when you're in the United States, you're still at war. And oh, by the way, we're at war with your families as well, Neil. It's very, very chilling.
General, maybe I'm making too much of the black helicopter issue here, but how ISIS would get this info? Would someone on the inside have to relay it, or would anyone with a good working knowledge of the internet be able to track it down?
ISIS has the most sophisticated social networking scheme of any terrorist organization in the world. They simply troll through social media available on the internet, found names, associated those names with the units they were affiliated, then affiliated the units or connected the units to those units who were bombing in Syria and Iraq. This isn't just an overnight exercise, Neil. This just isn't some guy idling away the time in his basement. No, this is a carefully concerted, orchestrated campaign to intimidate our servicemen and women, not only when they're in the combat zone, but when they're at home. And the DOD, the Department of Defense, frankly, hasn't given it the seriousness that it deserves. Do you remember Arkansas? Do you remember Fort Hood?
That's
Do you
right.
remember what happened in Canada? No, they're not trying to put ISIS boots on the ground in this country. They're just trying to get some ISIS wacko, some lone wolf, to do their dirty work for them.
Another get them all fired up. But you know, I was wondering, it would be a very different story if ISIS were targeting prominent U.S. journalists, right? I mean, then, of course, that would be all over the media, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Neil. I mean, this is so sinister. Look, I served in combat almost 50 years ago. When I came home from Vietnam, I came home. But this is the internet era. This is the era of social media. And what's so important is that soldiers need the social media even more than the common citizen does, because they're gone so often, they're deployed in distant places. The only way they can maintain contact with their families is through social media, so they can't do what the DOD suggested that they do and just unplug it. Now, not in this day and age. If they're going to stay in tune with their families, if they're going to make these connections through these long deployments, they have to talk to them over social media. This is very insidious. It's wrong, and we need to take it more seriously, Neil.